Okay, so we will continue with our discussion. I wasn't able to discuss this one last week no, because we had an important matter to attend to last week before the Holy Week. So that's why I wasn't able to discuss seven habits. I think this was the seven habits or proven steps to become a world-class tour leader. So actually, in the book, we are done na. Gamay na jud kay content sa tour guiding. I'll just provide you with tips on how to become like a better tour guide. And then on Wednesday, no, not Wednesday, on Thursday, kuan na siya. More na jud siya on practice style jud no nga wherein I will teach you on how to present your spiel properly, and then the proper pacing, hand gestures, as well as anything, no, your movement, the way you talk, how you deliver your opening spiel tanan. So let me just share my screen. Aba kayong background eh. Kaya ako ga-headset guys kay sa mukha na ko usahay no kanang labad siya sa ulo. Muna I'll just use the microphone of the laptop. Okay. I think I have already uploaded this one in the Google Classroom. If not, I'll just try to recheck now. Dahil ko backlogs actually before and even after the what they call this, the JMAP Congress, no? So I was really quite busy. I have also worked outside pa rin no, sa parish kay na sila yung mga research activity pod mga contest no pohon-pohon about research about sustainability and all, so medyo mo na should be busy gamay. So, this material is actually from the video that you have seen a while ago, or that was last week, no, when we had the activity. I posted 2 videos there. That is from Better Guide, I think. No, subscribe ko ana nila because they provide materials for aspiring tour guides, and they provide this one for free, but they have also trainings, not just the one that they post on Facebook na mula 7 minutes or 8 minutes, but they also have like their own master class jud nga we're in from the very beginning until the end, no? Like it's a workshop thing that they also have that, but you have to pay for that kind of training. So what they provide are just tips as well, no, and it's helpful if you would like to be a tour guide. But again, no, the materials that we provide here, useless sa Japan siya if you don't really practice on it, because practical man ang tour guiding. If we feed you with a lot of resources and if you do not like apply it, jud no, jud mo i-practice imong ba sa pagstorya, imong actions and how you deal with people, and if you also don't go out there and have the experience of becoming a tour guide, then dili jud ka makato, no, dili jud nimo siya ma-absorb jud fully. Okay, sometimes we learn by actually doing. That's why you are required to make the tour guiding video. Supposedly, you're going to make pa the itinerary pa nga video, but you had other activities sa ubang subjects, so basin yag mabombarded mo. Remote na ko. Wait lang for a while. Okay, mga activity, mga videos actually prepared. So sorry. I had to I have students coming in for research. Medyo double time. May karon sorry jud kayo. Primil na jud ko sidetrack no. Going back. So again, these are just 7 parts, but on Thursday, sorry kay sa ko ano sa sa long pause, I had to entertain some students who came in for their final oral defense on the 30th, no? So, medyo busy jud ang second sem. As you can see, murag makaluya jud no. Kaya dagang kik activities no thesis na siya thesis season with koana. You'll understand soon once you will reach 4th year. So, hopefully. So, going back no on Thursday, more na siya on practical. So, mag-start ta with how you deliver your spiel first. Later na ta sa hand gestures, importante mo gud na in tour guiding and in presenting your spiel is mastery. Okay? Appeal diri no sa 7 steps is they want to ditch the cue cards or the flashcards. Sa uban, especially for the amateur ones, acceptable pa na siya. Labi na if they're still learning about the destination, if they're still learning about the script, if they're still adjusting, that is acceptable. But once you are, let's say, you will be hosting or let's say ikaw ang tour guide sa usa ka lugar sa inyong hanga syudad, and then you'll be bringing VIPs no, or for example tourists who are not your regular tourists but very important din sila nga mga tao you know, like you have aristocrats no, or for example like celebrities baron or anyone who's very important, you know. So, you have to ditch the flashcards, no? And you have to show how professional and kanang experiencado na. If you are an experienced world-class tour guide, jud, no? But, kung newbie pa, pwede pa manggani ka kakuyog-kuyog if you would like to get the experience, jud, pwede ka kakuyog pod sa kanang mga experiencado na jud nga tour guide and you can learn from them. There are students outside of here in Negros Occidental, no? There are students po diri outside sa tuang city nga. In other universities, they are actually collaborating with the City Tourism Office and they also help with the promotion of the city. In big universities like CPU or West Visayas State University, they have tourism students who also serve as tour guides sa city of Iloilo, and Iloilo is big man good, so they really need the help that they can get, and the city tourism office there really requires like sila jud ang gapangita og mga student tour guides. Some of them are volunteers, freelance ang uban, no, they are paid. They would do that because it's a privilege, no, kuan po na siya class kanang dungag na lang po na sa ilahang resume and experience, especially if there are tourism students. That is required of them, no, expected of them. So if there are like tour guiding gigs in your place, no, and then you know the area naman, you can apply what you have learned in our subject, and even as you watch different videos, and then you try to accept those kind of opportunities. Dili jud ka magula-ula kung kuan nga, di ba tourism student man ka, kaunta ka na mo as tour guide sa kanang maabot ng mga bisita sa kuan. Accept din ka kay that's one way that you can learn. That's what other students are actually doing. Not all students from that university, but you know, they have volunteers, no, nang willing jud nga mo assist sa City Tourism Office. I do not know here. I'll have to ask Miss Jen if we are open na for collaborations kay as far as I know they have freelance man pod. Others are not necessarily working in the City Tourism Office. Others are also just volunteers. Even others are natives or taga locals dito dira sa lugar like sa Sipaway. Okay. So there are 7 proven steps to becoming a world-class tour leader. This is coming from katong lucky nga naa sa video si Kelsey Toner. Daghan na sila actually that they provide trainings for aspiring tour guides, and these are just not like any other tour guides. The one that you saw from the previous videos that we had just earlier this semester, no, katong nag-European trip sila, they help tour guides like those nga kanang they can handle trips properly, and most of those tips are very helpful because it teaches you how to be, you know, a people person or how to interact better. There's even one video sa iyaha nga mukuan pud siya about how to handle guest complaints, no, or complaints during the trip. So the first one is talk so you can be heard. We already established this one when we talk about the different skills needed in tour guiding. So most guides will ask, can everyone hear me okay? From time to time. So the first gud mo gud, di ba? Mo ingon gami nga naa pa mo. Is that clear? Do you understand? Oh, so they do that because they would like to know if the tourist still hears them, no? And not just makadungog sa tingog, kundi makasabot siya, like audible jud, no? Can everyone hear me okay? Am I audible at the back? Kay para ma-assure jud ba nga while he or she is talking, they are still listening. Importante mong gud kay na kay sayang kay muhang mga gipang research dira if they do not actually listen to you. So you have to talk so that you can be heard. In the sense nga, you're not just talking, providing them information, and wala na kay paki kung kinsay maminaw. But you talk because you would like them to really listen from what you are saying, no? So, have a good posture, project, and use your outside voice. When we talk about outside voice, diba usually when we talk class with our friends, no, we just talk in a very normal tone. Especially ako yung kumutabi ko, maraging ani raman, no, dili naman siya kayong anak ka dako ang volume, no? Pero kung nanaka sa gawas, you have to maximize sing gamay lang sa volume mo para at least madunggan jud. Kanang your regular voice mo pa jud siyang i-amplify og maayo no para dili pud grabe nga mara nakagasyagit no. Kanang sakto-sakto lang a tone so that people can hear you at the back. No, it's not just the people at the front who can hear you clearly, but even those at the back. Okay, face people the entire time you are speaking. When you turn your head, your voice will be lost. So, you do not have to turn your back or for example, di ba anak ko yun nga, it's okay to glance from side to side but don't do that frequently because ang imuhang voice nga tibuok no, dili na kay na siya madunggan kay mawala man na ang imuhang voice once you turn your head ato na pud imong voice padulong sa kilid no, dili na siya audible. So, you have to face your audience the entire time. Okay, the second one is ditch the notes or flashcards. Reading your tour from a script is not acceptable. For world-class tour guides, you are expected to be, let's say, not like an expert dyan, no? But at least you're knowledgeable in what you do, no? Kalahin po kayo magpasa, di ba? I remember there was a time that I had to provide a discussion and I wasn't really that knowledgeable in that kind of area, so I read the contents of like a bit of information lang and it was not really pleasant. Like maski ako di ko ginahan maglantas akong self magbasa kay you want to look eloquent, no? Kanang ginahan ka nga very spontaneous kay kalang taon, like you really know what you're doing. So kung ikaw maglantaw po ka sa tour guide nga reads everything from a flashcard, you would feel, di ba, ikaw as a tourist, you would feel nga this person is not ready at all or doesn't even know the destination, no? Kay mubasa man siya, tibutang iya siya may gahimo sa script, ma'am, umiya na po, dili siya ready, like he's not confident siyang kaugalingon. So you have to know the material by heart. You can even be spontaneous. It doesn't mean nga you have to force yourself nga word for word yun ma-memorize nimo. Just get the idea. Like let's say nag-research ka online na kay nabasahan. Pagbasa nimo, kuha na siya class kanang dili na siya ingon nga kinalan word for word jud ma-memorize nimo siya. No, you just get the idea. Okay, it was named after moon ni siya. It was discovered kani nga date. More nimo i-keep in mind the important parts and then you make it your own. Dili pod grabe pod nga imo nilang i-alter tanan nga mausab ang information. I mean, you relay what you have learned from your research, from your readings into your own words, but do not change facts like the date when na siya na-establish kani nga lugar or when ni siya founded or ang history dyan nga lugar. Nga na ba? Okay, so you're not ready to take paying guests on tour if you do not know your material by heart. Reading occasional quotes is okay. Like for example, you don't really memorize this quote, no, about travel, so you can just read them from your phone, but not all the time. Okay, and then Also, practice giving your tour aloud. Especially, kamuno nga, you will video sa inyong kaugalingon. Laig po kaayon nga. Inyo hapong, let's say, you'll just wing it, no? Diretso na dayon mo og storya. Dili po siya pwede, no? You have to, kuan po, rehearse. No? Yung pong, kuan, unsay, paminaw, no? Kung, let's say, if I'm going to relay my spiel, lain ba paminaw na ako ang speaking voice, or for example, sakto ba pag-pronounce ako nako aning mga certain words. So you have to really practice saying out loud, no, your tour guiding spiel. If you are nervous, prepare note cards in your pocket so that you can pull out to get back on track. Okay, for newbies, again, no, if you are an expert already and you had a lot of experiences na in tour guiding, you have to ditch the flashcards and the notes. But if you are still new and you are still adjusting, it's okay to have flashcards or notes. But don't read them word for word, page by page. Dili na. That is just there to guide you with the flow of the program. Let's say, parang na mo good mga MC abi, or for example, katong nag-speaker po ko niya. When I had my first nga talk, I had to prepare an outline, like unsa kong isultian ni nga part, and then unsay sunod nga matabo. I don't read it word for word. I provide spontaneous discussions from time to time. I do not read it word for word jud kailan taon, but I glance from my notes to see asa na pud ko sunod para dili ko mo segue or dili ko mawala sa flow. So that's important. You can have notes if you are still adjusting, if you are still new. But you can use them to help you or to guide you with the flow so that you will not be lost. Kana ra jud. Okay? Focus on the basics. Make a list of professional expectations that the world has for you as a tour leader. Some examples: start and finish on time, be prepared and organized, dress professionally, smile and be pleasant. Those are just examples on the basics, no? Even if you are a tour guide, act as if you are because if we are working in the tourism and hospitality industry, we have to look smart. We have to look smart and sharp. Meaning neat, very organized, no? You dress professionally, and then we have to be pleasant, no? Like we smile, we're enthusiastic for them to be there, and then we have to be prepared, like everything, our notes, contacts sa tong mga reservations, tanan, first aid kit, kompleto na siya. And then we have to start and finish on time. Dili pud ka late nga ikaw ang hulaton sa mga guest, okay, or tourist. Next is get feedback. It's an evaluation being offered to every client that you work with. If it is not, you are missing out on one of the biggest opportunities for personal growth and professional development. Okay, don't be afraid to get feedback. Sometimes we are afraid to ask for the feedback of our tourists or provide bata o kanang evaluation forms. Usually, other companies, they provide evaluation forms so that right after yung uban nula in kay musulti pagkawano nga kanang please make sure to leave a positive review. You just let them be, because how can you grow as a business, or how can you grow as a tour guide and improve if you do not know your weaknesses, where you're good at, and also where you need to improve? The evaluation form there is not meant as a negative thing for the tour guide. It's there as an awareness, like for example, kitang dili masiguro pod but kita yung mga tao lang dili jud ta mahadlok jud ta sa tinuod. Sometimes we get so afraid of being corrected because we believe our own truth, kanang para nato mo ni siya ang sakto. Murag dagoy kag believe sa imong kagalingon nga mao na jud ni siya ang sakto. Maybe because it is driven by pride, let's just put it that way. And when you are provided with feedback that is, let's say, although it may be harsh, but it's the truth, it may be harsh, dili man jud siya pleasant lang ta basahon, pero it's the truth. Mo siya ang tinuod. Sometimes we can't handle the truth, and the reason we get angry, we get frustrated, diba? We we deny that it's the truth because you are so caught up in believing in either your own lies or your own truth, no, without really realizing that people that looks at you dili di sila ginahan. So feedback is important because if you are an open-minded person, you're open to criticisms, you are aware that these people, well, let's say ang ilang experience is subjective, but at least you will have a basis on how to improve next time. In case you will encounter the same kind of tourist sa sunod nga trip, you will know what to do next time because of the feedback form. Okay, again, use your guest feedback to identify your strengths and weaknesses. Ask for an overall rating for yourself, which is different from the overall evaluation of the tour. You have to understand that there is a separate evaluation of the tour. The tour is different. It's about the places they visit, did they enjoy it, but they have to also evaluate the tour guide so that makabalo sila if okay ba ni si tour guide mo handle sa tour, knowledgeable ba siya sa places nga mong giadtuan, is he accommodating, available ba niya siya all the time, enthusiastic ba siya, like eager to serve, or eager to be in the presence of the tourist, nya kung nagay mga negative kon mom po na good kaming mga teachers, how I wish they will also be like that sa college. Nakabalo jud no ang sa babaw. What I appreciate when I was teaching in the senior high school department at that time, and among principal is dili ang katong principal karon no, Sir Christy pa among principal. Every time that there will be an evaluation every semester, we will be given long envelopes and there will be comments of the students there, and there are positive and negative feedbacks too. Although I'm thankful because I'm not a perfect teacher. I do not mean to kuan, but I get kana pud no kana mga praises sa students nga okay ra ko mo teach, although there are times that I still lack in some parts no. Pero I'm thankful nga there are still students masking kabalo ko nga makatulog sa usay sa akong class, sila binag-research, they still appreciate sometimes. And dire jud ko ano kanang rang napo koy mga weaknesses makita nito, like pas mo storya or ato nga time sa research is man daghang pabuhaton. But it was really important because it helped me adjust, no. There were a lot of teaching practices katong wala pa na under sa ako sa una. I had a lot of different teaching practices before nga. I do not want to apply it now because I read them at the at the feedback form nga gihatag sa ako. So it really helps. So at that time kaya kung mahadlok ko pag una pagbasa na ako, okay, I need to improve on this part. So it really helps, Jude, kay it's not just for you nga mo matarong pug ka or ma-improve ka, but also it will help make the experience of your tourists much more enjoyable, no? Kay kuan man na naman kay mga other areas nga imuhang gi-improve or gi-develop. Okay? And then the evaluation form should include questions on how guests think you could improve. Importante jud na siya. We should be open to feedback and criticisms. And it's hard, no? The more we age, the more difficult people will accept criticisms, no? Because lagi, as an adult, you think you know what you're doing. But ikaw as a tour guide, no, you always are open to feedbacks from your tourists. They know sila makakita kung unsa ka modala sa ilaha because you were with them throughout the entire trip. Okay, the fifth one is find a mentor. Who is one tour leader or guide that you really look up to? If you have one, then you try to ask for pointers if they have the time, or for mentorship lang, at least to guide you. If you do not have one, make it a priority to find one, like someone that you can look up to. Or for example, if wala jud, you can just go to YouTube and moto katong sila ni Kelsey Toner nga mga veteran tour guides pod sila, and they also help mentor other aspiring tour guides. So you can do that. Okay? Study that person objectively and break down what specifically makes them so successful. That's what I usually do also when I look at other people in the academe, and there are some of the let's say there are few of them nga medyo kanang murag ginahan ko sila ang work ethic and how they handle classes. So that's why I take notes no, on how they deliver, how they handle classes po, so that I may be able to apply that as well. May na good nga example. Okay, develop a relationship with that person if possible. Not a romantic relationship, but a mentor and mentee relationship. No, wherein this person will be vital to your development. Okay? Most people will be more than willing to lend a helping hand if they see you are genuine and interested in learning. And the number 6, adapt your tour to the people who are on it. Make a habit of finding out who is in your tour. Moya akong stress out last time, di ba? It's important that you know your tourist profile. And for what reason? You have to use this information to create a uniquely tailored tour that will stand out from the other cookie cutter models. So, well, what does this mean? Take for example, you would try to, let's say, ask for a list of your group, no, nga imuhang i-conduct og tour for the following week or next week na butang. Studyhan nimo unsa ang ilang mga common interest, age group nila, ilang gender, asa sila nga generation na belong. Let's say you've discovered that majority of your tourists are young people who are very adventurous and nagbelong sa Gen Z or millennials. So, you try to understand how can you make the tour that would really fit, will align to their personality, to their age, silang mga interests. In that way, the guests would feel that the tour is really for them because they can automatically relate to the trip because it's been like very customized. That is what we aim in our industry class. In the tourism and hospitality industry, we aim for customized service. That is how we create delight, no? Dili man ta mo aim for satisfaction only. Delight jud siya, meaning you exceed their expectation pa. And one way that we can exceed their expectation and they can say, wow, like kini sa ko mga expectation, like expect man ko mag-enjoy ko pero I did not really expect nga grabe jud ka, like ka good vibes or nice kaayo ang amo ang tour. And that's all thanks to customized service or tour provided by the tour guide because he knows what kind of tourist ang yang ginahandle. Okay? Bastong example na mo sa CGSP training good nga, we know that this person is a businessman, he's very health conscious, and he wakes up early to go to work. So what we did to provide customized service is we offer him for wake up call early in the morning, and when he comes home late at night or in the hotel, we make sure to provide turn down service so that pag sulod niya dito na lang siya tulog. Turn down service is a way of where we arrange the room to make it more cozy for sleeping, like ang light medyo i-dim, optional na ang scented candle and all, and then my slippers, and then ang duvet is nakakuan siya, naka-fold siya in half, no, triangle, so that dito na dayon matulog si sir. Yung pillows nakahigda na tanan para ready na to sleep, no? Mga na siya. And then we also provide him with business magazines kay businessman man siya, and since he is health conscious, so we offered him complimentary entrance sa gym sa hotel, and then also suggested him with healthy menu or healthy options sa restaurant sa hotel, no, like mga very vegetarian and healthy options. So that's an example of how you can provide customized service. Hindi siya ma-shock siya kay he feels as if the service is really for him. Okay? Take the time during your introductions to ask what people are most curious about or interested in. Find out why they came on the tour in the first place and share relevant information with them. You can ask them, you can be curious, but not too pervasive, no, nga kanang pati lang mga personal information imuha ng pangutanon, dili pod na siya pwede, no? Kanang ko have like a casual conversation like, what brings you here in San Carlos City? Are you enjoying your stay as of the moment? Are you looking for like a lot of adventures here in San Carlos? We can suggest you with different kinds of natabian jud kay ka ba, no, dili pod grabe pod ka marites mga mota na kag mga personal information, like just ask questions related to the trip. Okay? So, yung mga likes, mga preferences sa trip, like food, or mga places ngayong atuan, no? Say, gusto nga experience iyahang ma-encounter. Like, for example, ginan ba siya adventurous nga kind of trip? So, may ana ba? And then the last one is get excited. So if you are bored with your tour or not passionate about your subject matter, find a way to bring it to life. Okay? Focus on stories and facts that you find interesting, amazing, or remarkable. Let's say your tour is like a historical tour and you know it's not really exciting, it's kind of boring and it's more on like kung ano siya, no? Purely facts ra jud yung tutoy ra mo sa museum. So you also provide like kanang mga trivias or for example amazing stories related to what is found inside the museum kaya na ba no? Para at least may ka-life imong tour. And then sharing your passions is really all about sharing yourself. Like don't just think that you're doing this kay tungod kuan it's a job, but you're doing this because you want to connect with people and think of the tourists as if you know like close friends nimo sila nga gusto nimo ipasikat ang lugar nga asa ka ipadako or asa ka gasgig ag tumay ana ba no, always think it that way. Okay, so let me just stop. I have two videos here how to be people person. Importante kay na siya no kay when I first actually I'm a very shy kind of person, so when I first you know came to the HRM program, we had a lot of activities actually where we had to speak in front or we had to do this do that. We don't have tour guiding but we have front office operations. Grabe po to, we have to kuan pud sa gas yeah. Sige rin mix storya all the time until na develop na ako na siya until karon okay. If we are in this industry kinahanglan people person jud ta, no matter how shy we seem we are no like ako shy jud kay ko sa una. I have to go out of that comfort zone because it's one way of connecting to people man god. If you don't really reach out to them, it's okay nga medyo pag una magmapalaw ka or awkward at first no? It takes a lot of time to adjust and then it takes a lot of time to getting used to no. So kaya po na siya. And then the second one is how to speak in front of a group nga convincing ka. Lisod kayo ni siya nga part no kay
friends, Romans.
For you to be very convincing, others are naturally born charismatic. I'm not charismatic. That's one thing that I would really like to have. Kana ganing whatever I say commands attention. Like maski unsa pa na imong isulti maminaw jud no. And that's a very
Countrymen.
difficult thing.
I have a dream.
I'm sorry.
7 years.
Okay. So lisod kaayo siya no. So here are just some tips on how to, you know, be a better people person. Lisod kaayo siya sa actual na jud no. Kung mag-video mo okay ra kay say maulaw magay mo video tubangan sa laing tao no. Pero kung sa actual jud nga naa mo dira nga there are people around you, it could be nerve-wracking jud no. So nerve-wracking, sorry. So these are just some two videos that still from Be a Better Guide on how to be a people person and how to speak in front of a group and be convincing. So hopefully this can also help you out and you try to practice as well. Sorry ko ande dili ko mag-share sa kong screen kuan ko share tab di ay. Okay.
Some people are cat people, and some people are slug people. But if you want to be a fantastic tour guide, then you need to be a people person, otherwise known as a people. Hi, Kelsey Toner here from beabetterguide.com. Now, having great social skills should be one of your top priorities as a tour guide. The ability to connect with people warmly, to make them feel comfortable around you is paramount. And even if you have an encyclopedic mind and can remember all kinds of facts, or you're a great public speaker, you're still going to struggle as a guide if you don't have those social skills. And remember, no matter how much of a people person we are, we can always improve those skills. So here are 6 tips to get you started. Number 1, listen and be curious. The best conversationalists are the ones who are the most attentive. As much as possible, you should be listening more than you are speaking. And try and get genuinely curious in what other people have to say. 2, share your own passions and personality. As a local tour guide, people will always be interested in learning more about you. Share openly your hobbies, your history, your passions. Think about the things that you love to talk about with your own friends and family. As much as possible, let your personality shine through, because that will make you more impressive and more interesting. 3, make others feel important and special. Try giving a lot of compliments to people. We're often quick to say nice things about people behind their back or when they're not present. So try giving those compliments to guests and people who are on your tour. Also, as much as possible, give personalized service whenever you can, taking the time with individuals, because this will make people feel special and appreciated. 4, be willing to help. Always be looking for ways to help others. Set aside some time before and after your tour to see how you can be of service to your guests. 5, practice socializing with strangers. The best guides in the world can have a conversation with anyone. So practice in your everyday life, meeting, greeting, and chatting with complete strangers. The more that you can quickly and genuinely connect with people, the more comfortable you'll become with this whole process, and the better your social skills. And 6, read books on how to improve your social skills. Classic books such as How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie are filled with tips, techniques, and sort of secrets that really helped me when I was starting out as a guide and I had to really work on my people skills. In fact, I put together a free PDF of my 5 must-read books on the subject. These were books that really helped me become the best guide that I could be. Now, I gotta warn you, a lot of the titles might seem pretty dumb. That's because they are pretty dumb. But don't let that stop you from taking a look inside, because from each one of these books, I've taken some techniques that help me become a better guide. If you're interested in that PDF, click below. If you only take one thing from this video, let it be that improving your social skills is one of the best ways to stand out as an exceptional tour guide. Take a moment to share this video if you agree, and in the comments below, share some tips and techniques that you use. I'd love to hear from you. You can also grab that PDF, and thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time.
Okay, so
Looking for ideas on where you can talk to strangers? Why not take a...
you can visit their YouTube nga account. They have documents, actually Google Drives nga link nga gina-provide of, like, for example, kanino you would like to download PDFs for additional tips. They provide materials for free. You can just download them from some of the videos that they have here. Okay, and then let's have the last one. Now, before tayo proceed, diba you've noticed that most of them is just having casual conversation. Kaya mga tips is just establishing a friendship with your tourist, diba? Like, to be a good conversationalist and also to be a good, let's say, people person, you have to listen, no? For you to also understand their stories and also to establish a conversation with them. Listen dyan ang pinakauna, and then followed by sharing your own point, and then do not overshare. No, sometimes may po dapat ko no I overshare, but do not make the conversation all about you lang. You have to also, just contribute a bit to the conversation, and then also let the other person respond. If they have nothing to share and they would just like to listen to you, then that's the time that you share. It's establishing like some sort of connection and friendship with your tourists, so that they could also feel comfortable and they would feel that you're a very people person. Kanang dili ka kon ba nga kana gining suplada kay nga pag abot sa tour hatag na kang information din, wala na, di na ka makighalubilo nila, pasag mag cellphone na dayon ka, di ba, lain ka, it's you're disconnecting from other people, and that is not okay, no? Again, as a very good tour guide, you have to be a people person. Okay, the last one is how to speak in front of a group. Wait lang ha. And how to get their attention.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, I have a dream. 7 years ago, in a galaxy far, far away, we took one small step for man and asked not what we could do for our country, but whether to be or not to be. Hold for applause. Smile winningly. Nailed it. Hi there, Kelsey Toner here from Be a Better Guide, coming to you live with a giant pineapple. Today we're going to be looking at getting the attention of your group. Now this is something that we as tour leaders and experience hosts need to do all the time. So after over a decade of leading tours and experiences, here are 7 of our best strategies for getting the attention of your group. 1. Always start with the group's attention. Now this is worth saying at the beginning because I'm always surprised by how many tour leaders will just sort of start speaking in the hopes that the rest of the group will just kind of tune in. But I would recommend against doing this and always signal to your group that you're beginning and don't say anything of substance until you've got everyone's attention. Why? Because your beginnings should be awesome, right? This should be when you hook people, when you pique their curiosity, or you lay out what's about to happen. We don't want people missing your great beginnings. 2. Only speak with full attention. Now this technique is going to signal to your group that you're only going to speak unless you have complete silence from everybody. This is a fantastic strategy. It can be a little intimidating if you haven't done it before, but what happens is the group begins to self-enforce. So if they see you up at the front, patiently waiting, maybe even looking at those people who are still chattering and being disruptive, other group members will quiet them down and say, hey, we're starting. It's a really guest-focused thing to do because those people who are chatting, there's a good chance they're disrupting the people next to them. 3. Engage disruptive guests. This is a fantastic way of drawing individuals or small groups who may have drifted away or being a little bit disruptive. You can do it in lots of subtle ways. Maybe walking over and gently placing your hand on the shoulder of somebody who's being disruptive while still giving your presentation. You can also do it by gently calling groups out. You might say something like, hey girls, could I have your attention for a sec? Yeah, I don't want you to miss this. And then going in. You could also use names. If you know the names of your group members, all the better because people love the sound of their own names. So you could say something as simple as, and Steve, I know you're going to get a kick out of this. And just by saying Steve's name, he's going to perk right back up and tune in. 4. Use the silent fox. Now, there are many variations on this technique, but they all involve the same basic rules, which is you explain to your group at the beginning that if they see you holding up a particular hand gesture, like this little fox here, they too make the hand gesture holding their hand high in the air and they can't speak. So basically this spreads through a group and it's a way of getting their attention without having to holler and yell. So in Germany, I think in schools they use the silent fox, I've heard. I've been to conferences where I've seen the pinky used. The gesture doesn't matter, you just have to explain it at the beginning and you can have a little fun with it too. You know, getting your group to talk amongst themselves and then go and see how fast they can quiet down. It's a great technique to use. 5. Use claps and snaps. This is another technique and works as follows. In your regular speaking voice, say, if you can hear me, clap twice. And then you wait and hopefully someone near you heard you and will give you 2 claps. You then repeat with a different number of claps or snaps. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. And you keep repeating until everyone in the group is clapping or snapping along. Now this works super effectively because 1, you don't have to shout or yell, and 2, all this clapping and snapping gets the attention of other folks. They're curious as to what's going on. Other great thing is you don't need to explain this game at the beginning. You just use that technique whenever you want and then launch directly into your content. After people have done it once or twice, it becomes that much more effective. 6. Leverage your physical environment. A great tour leader is always thinking about the physical. For example, is there a shady place if it's too hot for your group to be in? Is there an opportunity for them to sit down? Is there protection from the wind? Is there a quiet place if you're in a crowded area where they can hear you better? This physical environment is super important to pay attention to, and also try and get yourself elevated any opportunity you can. Are there some that you can climb? Can you hop up and sit on a balcony? Allowing people to see you and hear you is going to be super important for keeping their attention. 7. Treat attention with the respect it deserves. Once you actually have the attention of an audience, don't squander it. Treat it as sacred and don't waste it for a moment. This can happen with any leader, really. Once they have the group's attention, they get distracted by a side conversation, or they ramble, or they have to fish something out of their bag, or they're just not prepared. People will learn that you're wasting their time, and they'll stop tuning in. So be brief, get to the point, educate, entertain, inspire, and then give people back their freedom. In other words, treat attention as a scarce commodity. To summarize, always start with the group's attention, only speak with full attention, engage disruptive people, use the silent fox, use claps and snaps, leverage your physical environment, and treat attention with the respect it deserves. Want some additional inspiration on captivating audiences? Check out our PDF below, 10 incredible speeches by 10 incredible speakers. This is a fantastic PDF that has 10 YouTube links where you can go and check out these speakers in action for your own inspiration. But before you do that, in the comments section below, what techniques do you use to get your group's attention? Know somebody who might benefit from this video? Every share, like is greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. So
Okay, as a quick bonus, I made a short list of ways that you can get people's attention that are really effective but not recommended, right? Like taking off your clothes. It's a good one. Screaming at the top of your lungs, swatting invisible bats is fun. Faking a medical emergency, setting off firecrackers, firing off air horns, or making a sound like this.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
okay, the last one was actually just meant for a joke, no? Let's go back to commanding attention. Now, as teachers, we've already used that one, no? But sometimes we reprimand. That's the best thing that we can do, no? We act immediately on what we feel at the moment, and then we'll just, reprimand people if they don't pay attention. But you can't do that in an actual tour. You can't be like a teacher and you like scream at them or reprimand them. That will turn them off. That will also turn off that kind of sets off the mood in a bad way. And one thing that we can catch the attention of our tourists is that, again, very effective kayo siya. Waiting for them to be silent before you will speak. Like, only talk if you have like the full attention of the participants. We did that when we had the ARSC National Congress. The last Congress that I attended, actually, no, which is in Palawan. At that time, there was one student, tuwi kay siya. Saba kayo mo to gakiat na. Kaya it's a national congress, of course. So gakiat. Nya, sige siya kun nga, pay attention, listen, wala jud. Yeah, I came in, of course, no, it's not because memak or anything. Because I was president at the time, manog turnover na. I came in the middle, very small, di siya makita. I took the microphone and I said, I will just count up until 5 for you to all settle down. O, dako ko tingog. 1, 2, ana ra. Dayon, wala sila kayo. Gamay ra kayo na minaw, no? Katurang sa tubangan, muyag na. Then I kept quiet. Wala na ko follow up. I just kept quiet, no? That was the time I became a teacher na. I wasn't a student before. When I was a student, I was very erratic, no? Grabe jud, yaw-yaway ra jud kay ko, no? Even gani karon. Pero, I cannot do that all the time. I have to try to understand that not all groups can be like that. Especially if you're handling tourist class. Hindi mo sa pwede kasabaan. Hindi mo na sila mga estudyante. You are just going to be with them in such a short amount of time. You're just going to be with them for a couple of days. Or if it's an excursion, you're just going to be with them for half a day. Or for the entire whole day, no? Until 5 p.m. Things like that, no? So you can't reprimand them. The best thing that you can do is, you command the attention. If they cannot give that, again, maintain silence. Makabaltay na sila nga, gahulat ra ka. Makita na sa tubangan nga, gahulat ra jud ka, patiently. And it's effective actually. Ingon sila nga, dili man siguro ma'am, depende. Basta wala ra ka nagkulang og minute noon that you want them to stop, to pay attention. Pero dili mong gusto yung anak ka-chaotic jud sa tour, no? Sa SC nga Congress, chaotic jud to kay gagadula sila niya. They got so carried away, they weren't even paying attention na to the instruction nga gihatag. So, it was very chaotic. Any tour, it's not really that kuan jud nga grabe nga magkiat. Siguro ang uban maglaglaag pa dito sa layo, ang uban is magtabi, no nya, ang uban mag picture. So the best thing that you can do is, get a megaphone and say, "Okay, everyone, gather, please settle down. We are going to start with our first destination. I'm just going to share some few information with you. Can you please spare a moment of your time?" Oh, yung anak. Dili guys sila mo kuan, hulat ra ka. Okay, I'm giving you a count of 5. Oh, count of 5, dayon muna dayon. Hulat ra jud ka. It's effective, no? Or you provide them with katon nindot to siya nga ang giingon pud ni Kelsey Toner, no? Katong lalaki sa video nga kuan pud to. Effective pud to ang mo mention ka, you call out their attention. Okay? Especially their name, no? Kay murag ang uban, it's not because they like to hear their name. Ang uban is maulaw pud sila i-call out, di ba? So, that's also an effective way on how to get the attention of your tourist, no? And again, you take note of unsa yung gisulti sa last nga treat that attention as sacred, as an important commodity. Why? Because again, if they see you're not really confident in, like, you have their attention na, but again, no, nag-fumble ka sa imong bag, nakagipangita, daghan pa kay ka kagikuan giandam before ka mohatag sa imong spiel, it means that you're not prepared, no? Or for example, maglisod ka og storya, no? It means that you're not confident, and they see that mo lagi sakto tayong ingon niya nga you're just wasting your time, and then they will not pay attention na. No, once you get their attention, you have to maintain that, sustain that until the end of the trip. Okay, it's okay to throw jokes or from time to time, but you have to establish also that you are a respectable person, and once they see that you are respected, they would really pay attention to you. Especially like binang bago na po siya kayo kaila, di ba? Do not intimidate them up to the point that they will be scared of you, but just establish respect. Like, you can talk to me, I'm very accommodating, like I'm happy to be with you guys, but again, no, I will be sharing some facts with you, so just kindly bear with me. May ana ba? No, kanang murag mo sila ipabalo jud, no? And then, once you get their attention, start immediately with the spiel. So, before ka mo tawag sa attention, you have to be ready. If na kay mga kwaon nga mga, let's say, what do you call this? Mga tools sa imong bag, iandam na siya daan before nimo i-call ilang attention. So that ready na ka, usa nimo sila ipagather o pahilumon. Okay? So, ana ra na siya. At least, once you get their attention, immediately start with the talking, and then they would listen dayon sa imuha. Dili kay call kag attention, napakay yun, maghulat pa sila nimo. Di ba? What's the point of calling our attention to watch you nga mag-fumble sa imong bag? No, dili. So, yung ana. Okay. So, I do hope you were able to get some of the points, very important points. Again, we've already finished the book na jud, no, for tour guiding. What I'm going to teach you now are just basics, and also, hopefully on Thursday, how we can deliver our spiel very well, no, and appeal na siya mga hand gestures, and even when we do pacing, or when is the perfect time to glance around and all, no, so that maka-practice sa pod mo hinay-hinay for your tour guiding video. Now, before tamo end, I would like to ask your thoughts on the videos, as well as katutanan about sa tour guiding. What have you learned today? You can raise your hand or unmute your microphone. I'll just be needing some few one. Okay, Ivy.
Yes, done. So, what I've learned today is dapat kung tour guide ka, to be an effective tour guide, dapat ka ng good communicator, gid ka dayon. Maayo di ka mo socialize bitaw sa mga tao, kaya saan man mo pag connect sa mga tourist kung murag shy type ka nga person. So, dapat ka ng kuan jud ka mo o gulawon ka mo go out ka sa mong comfort zone. Mana lang.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Ivy. Okay, na-up we i-share si Earl. Sige, Earl.
Katong na-remember na ma'am kay always give good compliments to people.
Okay, why do you think so, Krister, nga it's important to give good compliments pud as a tour guide?
Para makuha ilang attention ma'am nya ma-set og good mood ilang mood.
Okay, thank you so much, Krister. Okay, who else would like to share? Okay, Anna?
Kuanda mga kuadam kay kanang if you are a tour guide dapat approachable jud ka o kanang kay mo ma-encounter gud kag mga different people sa imong mga tourists dapat imo ang personality kay nakay kanang kuan bitaw kanang murag dili ka kay kanang kuan ng taon strikta kanang dali ka i-approach nila nga tapos dili sad ka mag-ulaw-ulaw tapos napug kay strong communication skills kay mao jud na ang pinaka-importante nga qualities of being a kuan effective or a good tour guide.
Okay,
Wala na daw.
thank you. Okay, who would like to add more? Very good kita mga responses no nila ni Ivy, Anna, and Krister. No, those are just the things that you need to have if you are a tour guide. And hopefully, dili lang siya kutobra sa inyuhang na learn. You have to also apply it when you provide your spiel and all. And again, like what I've always tell you class ka, every time that you have like opportunities to also volunteer as tour guides in your local community, you grab the opportunity. It's one way of you for you to practice what you have learned in our subject, and as well as to really get an experience jud, and you will know nga okay, so this is the parts where I'm good at, or dili nga part nga medyo weak ko, so I need to improve on this part. So at least it's your baby step into kanang becoming a tour guide, no? Other people are kanang sa DOT, they are certified for that. There are trainings for tour guides. Dili lang siya murag basta-basta ra nga job, no? It's also very great profession actually, no? In other countries nindot pud siya nga job. Okay? Who would like to share more or wala na? Pamoy i-share? Okay, so it seems murag wala naman, no? Before tamu end, do you have any questions that you would like to ask? Again, the deadline for your project ng tour guiding video is extended. You just try to visit your Google Classroom. It is posted there if when. I think I extended it until May. So hopefully you can already familiarize your tour guiding script. We're almost near the end of April. So hopefully by that time you can submit na, so that I can also let my co-teachers also check your videos, and then we will see kinsa jud ang pinakanindot output, and then we will post all of your outputs in our official Facebook page, okay? And then dili ko anong mga padaghanay og like maimudaog mo based jud ta sa criteria given kay man para fair ang ang ato ang way of judging the tour guiding video. And then also ang sa camera is to help promote, no, at least ang inyong mga output is posted online. Do not be shy, no? It's your opportunity basin ma-discover mo sa kuan mo sa City Tourism Office pohon. Not only that you will get to travel, you will also get to meet different people. At the same time, you will also be able to practice your tour guiding skills, no? Takabalo lang uban gani, di ba? Himo na nila gig niya madugay, not only tour guiding, no, himo na pud sila host. So that's the starting point na. So do you have any questions before ta mo end?
Nandam.
Okay, so since wala naman, let us end our class with a prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen. Saint Rita, pray for us. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, thank you so much everyone, and see you on